Welcome to Gentle Anchor, a podcast hosted by mom and son, Michele and Noah. No topic too tender. We talk with honesty, curiosity, and zero taboo.
What's up, Drift Mates? Thanks for coming back for another episode of Gentle Anchor Podcast. I'm Michele.
And I'm Noah.
And we are excited to be getting into a new year. This is going to be our last episode of this season. Starting next week will be a new season, which kind of will be the new year. Even though this episode is coming out on the new year, it'll be the next episode that starts the new season. And today we're going to be talking about goals. But Noah and I, before we were talking about this episode, like as in prep for the episode, kind of saw it shift a little bit into what it might become. So I was kind of on the path of thinking, we'll just talk about how Tabby and Noah chose the lives that they're in right now and the goals that they set for themselves and how that kind of what my part was in that, or whatever. And when Noah and I were talking about this, it kind of went a little bit deeper than that. So we have a kind of an idea of how we want this episode to go, but it might kind of change a little bit. So just wanted to prepare you guys for that. Anyway, does that sound about right now? Noah thinks this is going to be a little bit more intense than he had planned for 10:30 in the mornings. And also just wanted to let you guys know that Noah is home, but last week's episode was so hard to edit because we were next to each other and the platform that we used just wasn't very accommodating. So we decided to record in different spots of the house. I'm in the basement, Noah's upstairs in his room. But we are home, so Noah gets to be home for another couple weeks, and that makes me very happy.
1 week.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, let's move into that drift check. How's it going, Noah? How did your week go?
Boring.
Yeah.
Mostly. Well, no, it was fine. Like, I hung out with my friends, but other than that, I just sat around the house.
Yeah. We've played a lot of games
Yeah.
together.
I need to study. So I have to do this
You
next
keep
week.
thinking you need to do some studying and stuff.
I don't keep thinking. I know I have to. I'm behind.
I see.
I can't start the new semester not having brushed up on all my stuff.
I see.
So I need to do some studying this week.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's kind of been a laid back, kind of chill vibe kind of thing.
Yeah,
Good.
pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
this drift text out feels weird because I'm in the same house as you.
Well, it is what it is.
How was your week?
Same as yours.
Cool.
It was
Let's
fine.
move right through it.
Yeah. It was fine. I mean, we didn't do anything exciting this week. Dad was home and we got to spend time with him, and the weather started off real nice and then it got kind of chilly. So now we're moving into chilly weather. So other than that, yeah, it's good. It's A-okay.
It's a vibe.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll just move into this episode and kind of get through this and talk about goals and things like that. I think that part of goals in life, like I think the whole thing here is that I wanted you guys to grow up with the ability to be whoever you wanted to be, right? I think that there's sometimes pressure in families for kids to follow in their parents' footpaths, right? Footsteps, or do these certain things because there's expectation. Those things can come up in families, or like there's been generations of a career, or there's a business that the family runs that kids have to fall into those positions just because of expectation or whatever, or family goals or whatever like that. And I wanted you guys to be able to have the freedom to choose whatever. I mean, if people have ever listened to our podcast, they kind of know that we have this kind of free relationship where, I don't push you guys to do anything anyway. So I think like talking about goals and you becoming an athletic trainer and Tabby becoming a dietitian, like those weren't things that I ever said you had to be.
Right.
Yeah. So I think when you were younger, we were talking a little earlier, like the goal for you was to just be whoever you wanted to be. And that was always, to me, was always like, well, I don't really care what you choose. And when you were, what'd you say, 4? You were like obsessed with garbage men, right? Or becoming a garbage man.
Okay, hold on.
Not obsessed.
Let's just walk.
Fix it then.
I was obsessed with garbage trucks.
Right.
Not the men that drove the
No,
trucks.
right. I should have, you're right. You were obsessed
I
with garbage
like
trucks.
yeah, so I wanted to drive the garbage truck. I didn't
Right.
care about the men.
Right. You're right. Sorry.
Whoa.
Um, the garbage trucks. And so you wanted to drive a garbage truck. And I said, great. If you were like, if I want to be a garbage truck driver, right? And I was like, okay, like that sounds wonderful. Like there was never any like deterration or deterring from what you wanted to be. Do you ever feel like in choosing the path that you want to, do you ever feel like I put any pressure on you to do that?
No, not like career wise.
Okay.
The one thing they always told us is that we had to go to college. Like it wasn't really
Right.
a I want you guys to go to college. It was like you guys are going to college.
Right. And that's fair. And what did I
And
say about you going to college?
and then you said that we had to well, you're like you can do whatever you want in college. I don't care. But you're like but you can't go to anywhere in Utah or Idaho. Like you have to see the world. Which I
Yeah.
personally was like that's stupid at first, but then I'm like honestly, like I don't know. I most people know that like I never loved living in Idaho. Like it
Mm.
wasn't my most favorite place in the world, especially with the like the amount of times that we had the opportunity to travel growing up. Like I just got to see a lot more of the world. I guess more of the US. We never traveled outside the US. But and so I was like, "Oh, there is a whole lot more that I can go and do with my life that it doesn't have to be here."
Yeah.
And so I was happy to actually like I don't want to say I was necessarily like happy to leave, but I was more excited for the idea
Explore.
of to explore like different opportunities outside of Idaho.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I did. I think that was like growing up in New York, I saw so much diversity. And then when we came here to Idaho, it is not as diverse. And we live in a small town, not super small, but not big. And I always felt like there was some kind of something that could hold you guys back from being something or doing the things that you wanted to do. And so I always said when you and Tabby were younger, like, I want you to go to college and I want you to go to college not in Idaho. And it was interesting because I you guys took that to heart. You really did. You did really well with taking that to heart. But anyway, things changed and you get to there's autonomy in the choices that you guys get to make and I had to let that go
yeah, well,
because
Tabby's stuck too. She went to school in Utah and Idaho,
yeah, exactly.
but
That's
I said
exactly
I
my
can't
point.
wait to get the hell out of this place.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that, and we're not only talking about, I think when we talk about goals, we're not only talking about the goals that you had for, the life that the career that you're going to choose, but I think in general, like as we went through life and the goals that you set for yourself, like, do you feel like those goals that I mean, we would have conversations about goals, right? Like we talked about the goals for you. Do you feel like those goals were choices that we made, that those goals were set by you and me, or how do you feel like we went about like setting the goals for you?
I'm like, what goal? Like my life goals or like
Yeah, just in general, like when you were okay, so for you were younger, like your goal to play baseball, right? And the
yeah.
goals that you had for yourself to play baseball, like those things. Are those things that like did I force you to play baseball? No,
No, you
right?
put me in baseball and then you gave me the option,
Yeah.
and then you were like, you can either play football or baseball. And then but you very much hinted at the fact that you didn't want me to play football because I was too small.
Yeah, but you
I was like,
also
all
had the
right,
choice to do other sports. So you had those choices. You did gymnastics for a
I
little
did?
bit.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that was stupid. That was dumb.
you didn't like that, so we stopped doing
No,
that.
gymnastics was genuinely a waste of your money and my time.
Okay,
I
you
hated
didn't.
that.
Yes, and I think that you had the option to do any other sport, but you fell in love with baseball as much as I love baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, I don't know, I didn't care for a lot of the other sports.
Yeah,
Not that I even really tried them, but, like, the idea of taking time to do them, I didn't care for.
yeah,
I did genuinely want to play football, but I also knew that I was too small to do
yeah.
that. So.
That made me wait too. So I did have a little hand in.
But
So
as for
yeah,
like trying to become better at baseball because when I started, I sucked. Like I was
yeah,
terrible, and I will admit that.
yeah,
Like I mean, but I feel that a lot of people aren't very good at the things that they first start doing,
yeah.
unless you're just naturally gifted. But our
Right.
family is not naturally gifted at almost
No,
anything. So
no. You and Tabby both became the athletes that you are because of the hard work that you put in.
right, and I'm not ever gonna say that I was the best at baseball because I wasn't. but like I got pretty good. I was able to hold my own on.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was like after school every day I would come home, do my homework, and then go outside for an hour or two and work on things. Like I would take the time out of my day to like achieve those goals. I told myself that I wanted to be better at baseball, so I worked for it, you know.
Yep.
There was never really any pressure from you or dad to say, yeah, you have to be good at this.
Right.
Um, Obviously, you helped me. Like, you'd put me in camps. Like, you guys got me pitching lessons and all those things to help me because I'm like, I want to be good at this or I want to be good at that. Like, so there was that play in, okay, you have this goal. I'm going to help you achieve that. But it was
Right.
never, I'm going to force you to play baseball, to go learn how to pitch, to go be better at hitting. Like, I'm never going to force you to do those things. I'm going to
Right.
do those because you asked me if there was anything that you and dad could do to help me get better.
Yeah. That was really kind of key and important because you always had the desire to make yourself better. And so it was just my goal to help you achieve your expectations of yourself.
Right.
Right? I always wanted to be able to say, okay, this child has chose this, Noah has chosen this. I want to be able to help him get there. And how can I do that? Right? Rather than saying, Noah, you're going to play baseball. I'm going to make sure that you're spending 4 hours a day on pitching, 2 hours a day on hitting, 7 hours a day. Like it was never that. It was just like,
Right.
here's your goal. There's this opportunity for a pitching camp today. There's an opportunity for a hitting camp. Like all the things that you wanted to do. That was where the earliest like ideas of goal setting came in for you. I think
Hmm.
was through sports,
Yeah.
right?
I think it
And
was just the
then
most natural,
yeah,
especially because, like, when I was younger, like, everything that I did was hard for me. Like, when I say that I was not naturally gifted at
no,
anything, like, I wasn't. So it's like, I was put into tap dance because I think I wanted to do tap dance with Tabby. Like, I saw her
yeah,
do it and, like, I wanted to try it,
yeah.
but I wasn't good at that.
You resisted, and that's the other thing about
Yeah, that's
that.
the other thing is that I was like, for some reason, I deep down I wanted to do it,
Yeah,
but like I was also like, well, this is dumb for a boy to be doing this.
yeah.
And so like, but yeah, so for tap dance, I won't get too much into it, but for tap dance, I was
Well,
never naturally gifted at that. But then like the more I did it, the better I got at it.
and
Um,
I mean, I would honestly say that you're probably better at tap dancing than your sister.
I got pretty good.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think. I mean, I don't know. That's probably a little controversial. She might.
I think that she would pick up on things faster than I would,
Yeah,
but like
execution.
as a yeah, like as a whole, I think that I
Yeah,
might take that battle a little bit, but
yeah, and
and
that's
then like
something that we did. Yeah, we all did together.
yeah.
So
And then
that was.
with art, I really wanted to get into art because I enjoy drawing. And
Yep.
so some of my friends were like, "Oh, well, we go to art class." And so I asked you guys to put me in. I was like, "Oh, like, can I try this?"
Yep.
And that was one of those things that I got the hang of the quickest out
Mm.
of like everything that I started to do
Yeah.
was
Well,
art.
I will tell you, like for me, like when I was younger, that was the same way. I was the same way. Drawing and like poetry and the creative side of things
Hmm.
were always much easier for me than were putting the effort in. I mean, I put the effort in to like be athletic. But
Yeah.
the creative side of things were much more. And I think I've told you this before. My mom used to call me her budding artist because when
Mhm.
I was little, she used to say that to me because like the creativity was natural, and that was her. She was creative, so Grammy was creative, and
Right.
so I think the creative side of things, like the artistry stuff, is much more
You're
flowy.
just right. You're just right brain dominant.
So are you?
Yeah. The test told me so. But yeah, so that was just another thing that wasn't something that came natural, but I had set my heart to wanting to get good at it, so I practiced. And then the other thing, so like all those things that I did, so I did tap, did art, did baseball. I became good at those things through effort, through drive, right? The want to do those
Desire,
things
yeah.
more and the desire to do well, right? But the one thing that like I knew that I was gonna have to learn to be efficient at, good at was school because I knew that that was realistically where like my academics were what was going to take me far in life.
Right.
You know, a lot of kids that are really talented in sports maybe have that ability to go play
Yeah.
college ball, move up through the ranks, stuff like that. And I was like, as cool as that would be, I know that I'm not good enough to do that. As much as I love art, I'm not gonna do anything with this because like there's not much money there. And I was like,
Yeah.
that for me doesn't seem realistic as well. And I was like, tap dance is just a side hobby. Like, I'm not doing anything with that. And so growing up, there was that pressure from myself to be good at academics. And it was never placed on by you, dad, or Tabby.
Right.
It was
Although
always,
I do
well,
think,
I was gonna say, Tabby and me being a year apart in school,
yes, that I
this
was
is,
going to
and
go
I
there.
don't, yeah, I don't, and I was getting there. I don't blame Tabby for any of that. Like, that was
No.
not her fault. Like, she was honestly naturally gifted at like academic stuff. Like, her reading skills were off the charts,
Right.
and reading for me was just horrendous. Like, I didn't, I
Yeah.
got my comprehension level with things like, that were just abysmal. I remember
Yeah.
in second grade, I read a book, and then we did these things like AR readings.
Yeah.
I had read it was a Magic Treehouse book, and you had to like read the book, take the test on it to
Mhm.
understand your comprehension level, and see like if you get the points. And then at the end of the year, it's like how many AR points you have. We'd have a whole party about it, and I never had any like that many points because I could never freaking pass these tests. But I
Yeah.
literally sat there, took the test, and I got a 0 to 10 on it. And I was like never more. Like, I was so embarrassed. I was like, this is terrible. And so I think that like that was the first thing that I really remember about like academics as to something where I was like, okay, I'm not great at this, and I need to figure
Yeah.
out how to be better at this.
Better at.
And so I started pushing myself a little bit more to become better at that, which then increased my stress levels about it.
Right.
And so I think that that was like the first time that I really was like, I think that embarrassment level of recognizing that everybody else around me seemed to have an understanding of what they were doing and I didn't
Yeah.
kind of hit me, because then
Yeah.
after that I started to excel at a lot of the things that I didn't think I was capable of.
Yeah, and I think that, and unfortunately at that time we weren't able to have conversations. So, like you're talking about, like, and I remember like second grade being the way that it, was kind of the driving force for you. And at that time, it didn't occur to me to have the healthy conversations about that and to say, hey, don't worry about that pressure. It's still going to be okay. I
Right.
think, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that if I had recognized it differently, it might have gone a different way. But as you say that, like, that's probably a lot of where the stems of like the anxiety and putting the pressure on yourself come from.
Hmm.
And as I think about it, and obviously as you think about it, but you live and learn, and unfortunately, we didn't catch that one.
I mean, you don't, but like the thing about it is that I think that that was kind of that driving moment subconsciously. Obviously, back then I didn't realize it.
Right.
That was that kind of that driving moment that like helped me set that goal for being
Academically
like
better.
academically better.
Yeah.
And I did. I
Yeah.
became like really good at what I was doing. I finished high school with a really great GPA, a year of college done. I got an academic scholarship to go to Minnesota State, and now I'm doing great.
Yeah.
There is still a lot of that academic stress, pressure, and that anxiety, because when you start with that, like that determination and that drive that is, I want to do well at this, a part of it comes with, not that I want to do well at this, but I need to do well at this. And
Right.
so for me, there's a lot of self-imposed, self-induced, I guess,
Yeah.
self-induced pressure on how those goals that I have for myself are laying out and how they are becoming. Um,
Right.
just kind of, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we started you guys young with trying things and be putting it, like you said, into different things, doing the baseball, the art, the tap dance, so that you had an idea of what it looked like to kind of set goals. Right? And then you become academically, it became okay. Like, I know eventually I have to go out into the world and do something, be
Yeah.
productive part of society. What that looked like for you, we didn't know. And it was just like, okay, in your formative years, elementary school, middle school, we just know that you need to do well in order to get into college, right?
Yeah.
And so the goals were just perform to the best of your abilities to do as well as you can. And of course, like you said, you did feel that little bit of that pressure to do well academically because of that, not necessarily because of the way you were raised or whatever, but because you wanted to do the best that you could to be able to have better opportunities and do what you really wanted to do and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I would
And
say that.
in turn with that though, like for me, failure wasn't an option. It wasn't, and a lot of things like I understand. I do understand the concept of you have to fail to learn.
Yeah.
Like that concept makes sense in my head. But for me, the fear of failure outweighs that topic.
I think that last episode we kind of touched on that a little bit. We talked about how the mistakes that
Or
we make. Last
maybe
episode,
wrong.
it
Yeah.
was the last episode because we were talking about like when how I raised you guys because of what I did, things that I did when I was younger, and we talked about that, like how like you can learn from your failures, right? You and
Hmm.
failures. I just think failure is a harsh word because you make mistakes, right? It's okay. We kind of try to drive this. This is kind of one of those driving statements is it's okay to make mistakes and you learn from them, right? So for you, it was always my goal is to be the best that I can be. And for me, it was always it's okay if you make a mistake. You're going to learn from that. If you get a B, it's not going to make or break the person that you are. It's
Right.
okay to do that, right? And for you, that was never okay, but that was something that you had always put on yourself was that drive to be the best that you could be.
Right.
And I think that
I sometimes also think that it's not even like the best that I can be. Is like I try to prove that I can be the best in the room a lot of times.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
that might be a little bit of pride, and that might be something you need to work on.
I'm working on it. Grad school is teaching me that I just need to be able to hold my
Humility.
own. I don't even know that I necessarily want to be the best in the room anymore,
Yeah.
but I think like with athletic training specifically, it's like I want to be able to prove myself when I'm like needed to step up. And so for it's like I just want to be able to hold my own, I guess, and
In your
you
field.
know, in
Yeah,
my
I
field,
feel
right?
that way.
Like, yeah,
Yes.
I don't necessarily think that I need to be the best in the room. It's just I need to be able to prove that I can do the things that I'm asked to
Yeah.
do efficiently.
Yeah. I feel
So
that way
I think
too.
that's more of like I think that when I was younger, it was like okay, especially with baseball, right? Like
Yeah.
I always knew that I was never the best on the field. Like I
Mhm.
knew that. But in sports, there's that competitive drive that's
There
like
was a point that you were the best on the field.
no humility. I was not,
When you were
and I know that.
younger, I mean, there was no, you're right.
No,
Yeah.
there was at least like two or three people that were like. Anyways, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
However, in sports, there is like that competitive drive that allows you and that forces you to feel that you have to do better than people
Hmm.
because that's how playing time worked.
Athletic.
You
Yeah.
know, as in athletics is the better that you are, the more hustle and effort and stuff that you give, the more likely you are to get those opportunities. And so I think that in sports it's a little bit more of that, but in the classroom it was just okay, let me at least be like the top five. So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
yeah. But
I definitely think that's true. So I think it was like I think we were talking about maybe like before, like I said before we were talking we got into this episode, but it was like 10th grade. Well, I think you I don't remember what year it was, but you kind of talked about in your earlier years about wanting to be an architect.
well, before that,
After after the garbage truck, what was next?
marine biologist.
That's right. See, it's a good thing we're having. So you loved penguins. You still love penguins, and I think that. So I would say, like, I had a little bit of influence in that because I said you always
Because
said, "Oh,
I didn't know what the word marine biologist was.
right," but you always said, "I want to be able to work with penguins."
Yeah,
And
I
there's
was
other
like, I
things.
wanna. Yeah, I just wanted to be able to steal a penguin from wherever I was working.
Yeah. So, and honestly, like there was other options, but like the marine biologist was the biggest one because like I was like, oh, he could go work in Antarctica with, penguins. But yeah, you wanted to be a marine biologist, and that was something that, I was like, okay.
I think
The
I wanted to do that between like ages 8 and no, it was like 6
yeah.
through 10. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like for four
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Yeah. And at that time it was just like, hey, let's just we're just talking about it and stuff like that. It
That's
was
because
I
in elementary school we always had to do like, oh, who do you want to be when you grow up? And then
right?
it's
So much
like,
pressure.
or it was do that report on like your favorite animal. And so
Yeah.
every single year is the same thing. I was like, marine biologists work with penguins. Next year,
Yep.
marine biologists work with penguins.
Work with
I
it.
knew
Yep.
nothing about it, but I was
No.
like,
Yeah.
and so
And
I
for me
learned all
that
these
was too
random.
young.
Yeah, and so I was just like, I hate that assignment. Like obviously it gives you drive, but it's like I don't
Yeah.
know. Like what if I had put something like absurd like I don't know.
A
It's
garbage truck
just
driver?
I thought about it 1 year.
Well, you were six. So anyway, so then after that, I guess it was architecture, right?
Yeah, it was I
Yeah.
took a class in 6th grade. And it was kind of like an engineering I don't know. It was like a I don't know. We had to do all this architecture related stuff. We had to like build a bridge out of popsicle sticks. We had to build a marble maze.
That's right.
We had to do those like the
You
big
went to
two that
you went to a science and technology middle school. So you had
yeah.
these opportunities, different opportunities than middle schools. You kind of did more sciencey stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There was one more like there was another project that but like those ideas of like of building things and being able to like just design all these different things really kind of fueled my passion for like architecture and design, especially because that was when I got into art pretty
Mhm.
heavily.
I was
It
going to
was
say, and
about
that's the creative part.
yeah, it was like fourth, fifth, 6th grade, and so I wanted to do architecture until 10th grade.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
when COVID hit.
yeah, yeah. I think that we talked extensively about like architecture and you going into that. Your aunt is an architect, and we had extensive conversations with her about it because you were so passionate about it. And I think
Yeah,
that, like, for me, it was okay, this kid has this goal to become an architect. Let's figure out how we can, again, like, it was you making the decision and me just kind of honing that for you and helping you get on the path to become the best at that you wanted to be. And that was for
right.
years. Like, we were like, okay, let's get you some books on it, you know. And it wasn't like, oh, you have to be this. It was like,
Yeah,
you enjoy this topic, let's see how we can build on that.
right.
And that was kind of how, like, goal setting went in our house. Was you guys would say, this is what I want to do, and I would say, okay, let's figure out how to get you there, right? It was, is that right?
I was just thinking about my knitting phase. Remember, I was like, I want to knit.
Yes.
So you bought me things.
Yes.
I'm such a
Exactly.
grandma.
It doesn't matter. Like, that's the point exactly. Like, you guys had these desires and goals to be or do these things, and it was always, I was like, I don't care. Like, have fun. Like, pick something up, do it, you know, do it for 5 minutes, learn how to crochet a box and be done. But
Or
all the
my
I bought all the fucking yarn. It's fine.
my Rubik's Cube era.
Yep. Went through that
Bought me
one
all the
too.
Rubik's Cube. My
Yep.
kendama.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yep. Yep. I was like,
I always was into things for like 3 seconds,
yep.
and then I got bored. Like I
Yep.
was it was never. I think that that's why I enjoyed baseball so much was because like that's the only thing that I could do that I would
Stuck with
hit flow state.
you stuck with it.
Like it was just the only thing that helped me like forget about everything else going around. When everything else I was doing to try to like alleviate some stress or just relax, like I would get bored within like 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think, and that was the thing about it, was anytime that you got stressed with anything, I was like, go throw a ball, please. Go out and throw at your net. Just go be zen.
I'd be out there for an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I think that it was me just trying to show you that life was about options, that
Yeah.
you could do anything you wanted to do, and I was going to be there to support you. And when you finally, like you said, 10th grade, you decided 10th grade was COVID year, you got hurt in baseball, broke your wrist, and had to meet with the athletic trainer. That kind of changed the trajectory of everything and got you on the path that you are now. That's
Yeah.
a longer story than it needs to be, but that was kind of what happened, right? And so once you decided that, and that was it, like, that was like, there was no changing that. You were like, this is exactly what I want to do. You know, fuels my passion for sports. It gives me that drive to be something that I can excel at. Let's figure out how we can get you there. And it
And we
wasn't,
talked extensively about this.
we did.
It wasn't
We
one of
did.
those decisions that we made or that I made lightly.
Yeah.
There was a lot of thought put into it.
Yeah, because once you decided that, we had to figure out where you wanted to go to school, right? And yeah, you could have stayed here in Idaho and gone to school here, but I think you took,
Not for athletic training. I couldn't
well,
have.
you took
I could have
for
done my bachelor's here.
yeah, You took it more to heart when I said go somewhere else than Tabby did.
I
But
was
you had
okay. To be fair, though, again, at that point in time, I was already so fed up with this place. I was that teenager that wanted to leave. I didn't want to leave my family. I didn't want to leave my friends, but I wanted to leave this place.
yeah,
Growing up, I didn't think about it, and then I got into my high school years, and I was just ready for change. I was ready for new experiences, new people, new environment,
new goals.
new goals, new opportunities. I was just ready to go be somewhere else.
Yeah. And do you think, since we're talking about that, do you think that, like, with all of your growing up and how you were raised and stuff, do you think you had the confidence to, I mean, obviously you did it. So, like, you had the confidence to do it because you knew that no matter what, like, we were going to be there for you.
I think that yeah. So I had that safety net, right?
Yeah.
I had a healthy, supportive family that I was able to fall back onto, because I made the decision to move, and then as I got closer, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this, and they're like, you went give it a year. If you absolutely hate it, move back home, and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
And I was like, hmm. I'm like, I can do this for a year. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, maybe I do want to move back home. Maybe I'm not enjoying this as much as I thought. And then I was like, okay, let's just do one more year. Let's just see where we're at. And then I was like, I don't hate this. It's not terrible. I can go for another year. Graduated, and now I'm like, I don't mind it.
I don't mind it. I know.
you know,
But I think that it was nice for you guys to have the freedom to make the choice and feel confident in the fact that it was going to be okay to make the choice to go wherever you wanted to go.
right?
You know, I think that's something that's super important. And that was something that I wanted to give you guys was that opportunity to say, and that happened with Tabby. Like, as much as I said to you guys, you need to go someplace else, you can't go to school in Idaho or Utah. Tabby was like, fuck you, mom. And it didn't happen like that. I'm joking. She went her first year of college, actually all her years of college. Tabby, and it's funny to me, Tabby ended up not leaving, doing 2 years in Utah and then coming back home. But it's funny to me because she was the Ivy League kid. Like, it was
Yeah,
her goal as a I don't even know, up until middle school, I think, to go to an Ivy League school. And obviously, most of the Ivy League schools are back east. So when we were looking at colleges for her, and that was one of her goals for herself, was to go to an Ivy League school. We visited back east family and actually went to University of Pennsylvania to check it out for her because that was one of her goals and it was so important for her to check that out. So the opportunity for you guys to do and be whatever you wanted to be was always there. And I think that that's the important distinction here is that I wanted to make sure that you knew that whatever you did, whatever you chose was going to be okay, right? Whatever sport you wanted to play, whatever path you chose for your freedom, for yourself, like it was always going to be okay. And I think that was the most important thing for me. Do you feel like that's true?
yeah. I think
Yeah.
um, ultimately it was one of those things that you and dad both wanted us to just make sure that we were going to get a better life. And so I think that there was that nudge and that push to, kind of set us up with those goals. And, that started with, okay, you guys are going to college. You guys are going to go make something of yourself. However you want to do that, I don't care, but you're doing that. And I think that, yeah, I think that that was just kind of how the first understanding of goal setting that we were given was kind of that conversation.
Yeah.
And then from there, obviously, it was okay, great. Do whatever you want to do. I'll be here to support
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So do you think now, as we're looking at, at the future and the present and the future, do you think that now that I was so like do whatever the fuck you want, do you think that that affects the goals that you have for yourself that you set for yourself now? Do you think that I mean, you don't know it any other way,
Yeah.
but do you know what I mean?
I think that the goals that I have been making as of lately are from my own personal experiences, but I include you in those conversations more so as another voice of reason that I'm making positive and like good goals for myself.
Yeah.
So like one of the things that I know that you and I have kind of recently talked about has been what setting I want to work in as an athletic trainer.
Yes. This is where I was going to go. I'm glad you're going here.
Was just because when I first found out that I was going to Minnesota, one of the reasons was because of how big of Vikings fans we are. That's funny. Our sweatshirts are both Vikings.
Ah,
It's kind of funny.
it is kind of funny.
That is funny. I didn't recognize that. So yeah,
Bad
so we
season. Bad season.
yeah, but we're one play away from being out of the playoffs, so assuming that we
I
win
know.
next
So
week.
true. I
So,
know.
anyways,
Yes, you decided to go to Minnesota State
right. So
because
I went
of
because first of all, I decided to go kind of as a joke. We're like, oh, Vikings, like maybe I could meet some Vikings and meet some athletic trainers and network there, and like it was great. Come to find out that they have an internship opportunity over the summer that I will be applying for. To work with the athletic training staff, and the biggest thing was that I knew that I wanted to work professional football,
in the
um,
NFL.
or
Yeah.
in the yep, or Division 1 football were kind of my
Yeah.
two
Yep.
goals.
Yep.
And then I had the opportunity to work with a D3 men and women's soccer team, and it was a lot. I'm not gonna lie, like it was a lot.
And
Um,
you didn't want to do it at first.
and I didn't want to do it at first. Genuinely, I was not thrilled about it at all.
No.
But I enjoyed the lower division, and I really enjoyed working with the women's team. And it kind of got me wondering about what it would be like to work in women's sports. And I was honestly really scared to present that idea to you guys because I was like, the goal's been NFL, like that's where the money is, and this like what if not only that, but I always knew that NFL wouldn't be a guarantee. They say that like 6% of athletic trainers ever actually make it to the professional level.
But let me interject there for a minute. I did say to you, if that is your goal, then there's no reason why you can't get there, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and we had that conversation.
Yes.
And so that's been the goal, but then up until
Just
yeah, so that was the
recently,
goal from 10th grade through
all the way through.
all the way
Last
through the last
last semester,
two
the
last
most.
two months. And it still is a goal.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say that I wouldn't
Close the
be
door on
grateful.
that.
Yeah, it's but I'm thinking about making my immersive within a women's sport at the
Yeah.
D1 level to see because if I don't work NFL, I still want to work a high division, but it might not necessarily be football. It might be within women's sports.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about that because and I'm glad actually you brought this up because it's kind of an important thing because Tabby did the same thing. You have those ideas and goals set for yourself for the path that you want to go on for your life, whatever, and you say this is what I'm going to do and you stick to it, typically, whatever. But the idea that that can change is always there, right? And so I think as a parent, you have to understand that it's okay if your child that you've guided on this path decides that they're going to change what they thought was going to be their future, right? So, like for you, I know that it was very difficult for you to say, Mom, NFL might not be where I'm headed. But for me, it was okay. Yeah, like I understand. Like we've talked years about this being your path, but the truth of the matter is that I'm going to be happy with whatever you choose,
But
wherever you go, whatever you do with your life.
yeah,
Um, and Tabby was the same way. Tabby, her life wanted to be a doctor. One day had to come to me and say, "Oh my
this series
gosh,
having like a
yeah,
demonic like
sorry," but I think the same thing with her. Like she at one point had to come to me and say, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. Like this path is changing. And I do know this that both of you were very nervous to have that conversation with me. And
yeah,
I think the same thing it kind of upset me that you felt like I would say and you both had this feeling that it
yeah,
would upset me that you changed your mind.
right.
Like that was nothing that I ever wanted to instill in you guys. And I guess the point here is that as much as you try to do the opposite of that, it still can happen because kids have autonomy. Like to put the pressure on themselves to do that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I think kind of with that though, in making that decision, right? If we talk about kind of like changing goals,
Yeah.
is that I've like my biggest goal in life is like having a family and having kids. And you and I were talking about the other day. I was like,
Yeah,
at the end
last
of the
night.
day, was that? I think it was 2 nights ago.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyways, I was like, at the end of the day, like my biggest goal is that I want to be able to have a family,
you want to be a
and
good daddy?
I was like, I want to be a good dad. Like that's like what I want for myself. I was like,
Yeah.
obviously with that, like I want a good job. So we were obviously talking about like that's where the settings came in. I was like, but one of the biggest reasons that I'm struggling with like the professional idea and working as a professional athletic trainer. Sorry, being a professional athletic trainer in professional football. Let's always be
Yes.
professional. But working in the professional sports is because of the hours that they work, like the just the livelihood that comes with that,
Yeah.
is that it's doable. People
Yeah.
have said it's very much possible, but it is very, very hard to be able to focus and be good at both. Like
Yeah.
if you want a family, it's very hard to be a good parent or a good husband while trying to be good at your job. If you
Yeah.
or vice versa, you know. And so they're like, you have to be willing to make that sacrifice. And in my mind, I was like, I don't know that I am. Like, I
Yeah.
can't fathom being bad at two things.
Yeah.
Two things that are super important to me, I should say. I'm bad at things, but like things that are important to me.
Yeah.
You know,
Do
I
you know
was
what I
like,
think? It's as you're. Good.
I'm gonna put my efforts into those things. I'm gonna put my best effort in, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be bad at them. I don't know that I want to risk that, you know. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of when I really started thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, as you were talking about that, dorky that I am, reminded me of Friday Night Lights, the show, the TV show.
Yeah.
Well, I think that this is good because Eric, like Eric, who is the character, I'm not going to go into the whole, story of Friday Night Lights, but it's important to say because Eric, who is the main character in the show, is the coach for the football team, but he has these high expectations of himself, for himself, to get, like he starts in high school, like the high school setting, but he wants to get to the college level, right? And he wants to be able to coach as as a college, as a college coach for football. I think, but he's doing his, all this balancing of his family. Like he's trying to, balance his wife and his daughter and everything that they have going on while still trying to be the best coach that he can be,
Right.
for this team that he's coaching. And so that
Right.
reminded me, like you talking about that reminded me of that. But it's important, and obviously it's something that people struggle with every day. It's just a matter of making sure that you keep your goals and both goals of being a great
Yeah.
dad and your career path. So, is there anything else that you would like to say about this topic? Do you feel like we've done it justice?
They were good.
Okay. Wrapping this up, it was just always my goal as a mom to make sure that you and Tabby had the opportunity to be whoever you wanted to be. I wanted you to be, the greatest little people that you wanted to be. I wanted you to be the greatest little middle schoolers that you could be. I wanted you to do everything that you wanted to do. And it was my goal. And I was always going to help you get there no matter what, however you wanted to do it.
Right.
And that is still my intention, always, is to make sure that you have every opportunity possible to you, and I can help you in any way that I can to achieve your life goals. And it will always be that way. I will always be the first one in your corner. And that's my reflection. We forgot to do socials, so Noah, why don't you do that?
Thanks guys for listening. Appreciate y'all. The socials include the Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts,
Yeah, Facebook.
Facebook.
We're on them all. YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast. Anywhere that you get your podcast, you can watch us. And I have been putting the subscribe button up there. I don't know if it's helping, but I've been putting it up there. I'm not going to point. Noah's not going to point because the Lord only knows where it ends up. I have actually seen a little bit of an increase in our followers, so that's pretty cool. Thank you. We do appreciate you guys. We love that you are on this journey with us, and we hope that you continue to do that with us into our new season. And Happy New Year.
If you like our content, tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends. Do that. Okay, take us out, Noah.
You take us out. Yes, my mom is my gentle anchor, but yours might be
Woo-hoo!
someone else. It could be a friend, a sibling, or a mentor, anyone who makes you feel safe and understood. So what matters is having someone in your life you can be open and honest with. So the next time you feel the urge to share your voice, start with the person that truly hears you.
Yes, and we appreciate all of you listening. Every voice needs a safe harbor. Until next time, stay anchored in connection. Thanks, guys.